that when you are interviewing for particular roles, and some employers make it a policy across the board, others limit it to the positions where they really are seeing the biggest lack of diversity. But when you're interviewing for a particular requisition, then you have as a practice and a policy that you will make sure that you interview at least one woman and at least one person of color at that final stage of the interview process. And this is actually a result of the Rooney Rule, which started in the NFL, where the same policy was rolled out to make sure that at least one black person was interviewed at the final stage for head coaching jobs, and resulted in a significant increase in hiring of black coaches. So a lot of private workplaces have kind of taken that and transformed it for their own purposes. I've seen it done at multiple workplaces and seen it work extremely well in terms of increasing the diversity of those individuals that we're hiring for certain roles.
Absolutely, I will say, so I know for a fact, like with the Rooney Rule, in the first 4 years of its inception, I think initially the number of black coaches in the NFL were 6%, and then in 4 years it went up to 22%.
Yeah.
And I'll say personally here at Jackson Healthcare, I took over leading talent acquisition here in June of 2019 and put that in place. And within a year, we saw our increase in the number of people of color that we hired into new roles. It went from 9% to 25%, and that's the only thing we changed.
Yes, and I've seen it be so effective, and it seems like such a small
Simple
thing.
Yep.
Because when you think about it, you're not promising to hire any particular person. You're just promising that on that final stage of the interview, it will be a diverse slate.
It's like, and the people will be considered.
Exactly. But it makes a difference for employers. It also makes a big difference for candidates to see that the employers that they're interested in have a policy like that. And it makes it seem like a much more welcoming and inclusive place to work. So that's one thing that I've seen be extremely effective. Also, you know, I often hear, not often, but often enough, I hear from some business leaders, well, you know, the black talent just isn't out there. The Hispanic talent just isn't there. We can't find them. It doesn't exist. And the problem is they don't know where to look, and they're not looking hard enough. You know, there are so many historically black colleges and universities, minority-centered industry associations, you know, black fraternities and sororities. I mean, the list goes on in terms of sources of diverse talent, and highly skilled and highly educated diverse talent. And I think, you know, what we need our sourcers and our recruiters and our managers and hiring managers to do is to look harder and to go to those sources. If you don't know where to look, then ask. You know, there are plenty of opportunities and plenty of professionals in this field that you could ask, but targeted campaigns for recruiting to these diverse sources, whether it's education and college-based or professional associations, I've seen that work extremely well. You know, and a lot of these people are kind of sitting here twiddling their thumbs, wondering where the employers are. So I think that's also something that I've seen done really well by many employers who have like a very well thought out and detailed campaign for how they're going to target different sources of diverse talent that they wouldn't normally tap into.
Yeah, and I've always felt like from a recruiting perspective, it's almost kind of this domino effect, that's something you certainly have to have attention and energy around if your numbers are currently low.
Right.
But I think what's so amazing is once you start doing that and you start getting more diverse people into your organization, kind of going back to what we've talked about previously, this whole notion of sameness and how, you know, generally we are around people who are similar to ourselves. So when you start getting that diverse talent in your organization, guess what? They know other diverse, talented people.
Exactly.
And so it becomes a lot easier to then start having those internal referrals of diverse people who are just as capable and as qualified. The thing is just getting, again, kind of that first set of people in the door first.
Absolutely.